lost his crown? Is the night being tied on romance? Ha-ha, said the clown. Is it bringing you down that you've lost your chance?
Welcome to I Don't Get It. Yet again, this is the Pop Culture Get Off My Lawn cast. You are listening to the open-minded musings of two early 50s curmudgeons, each who stare down the prospects for entertainment relevance. I'm your co-host, Bill Scurry, of American Caesar Enterprises, which, interestingly enough, is that company that, made bank drive-through bays. Just to explain this to people who were younger than the early 50s, you would go to a bank in a car. Like a drive-through
I'm pretty
window.
sure you could still do that, can't you?
Why would you? Maybe in some places, but the thing is,
there are people who never leave their cars.
Who in the sound of my voice has done it? Is my question. So, but no,
I think I went to a drive-through ATM once.
Well, in the last 30 years.
No, but
that's what I'm saying. So what we do.
the last 30 years, yeah. When I was road tripping around the country in the late 90s, I probably went to a drive-through ATM.
But we are a full-scale solution for your bank drive-through.
Solution.
Yes. So more importantly, what we do is our feature item is the vacuum tube canister.
Oh, see, this is pre-ATM days, folks.
Yes.
You could deposit a physical check. I mean, I guess you could still do that. I do that on ATM. I get a couple checks.
Right, but what you would do is...
But you needed like a vacuum tube.
Right, so there were, at the drive-through bay, there were two lanes. There was a farther lane and a closer lane. The closer lane actually had access to the teller behind glass with a little tray that they would telescope out from their counter. But the other side, Noah, that's where the magic took place, my friend. Because there was a vacuum. A vacuum tube would go up and down into your lane, and you would essentially take out a canister, crack it open, put your check and your deposit slip inside.
You had to take the golf balls out first, but yes.
Yes.
I screwed it up. You have to take the tennis balls out first. That was my joke. I messed it up.
You'd put the canister back in, close the lid, and then a vacuum force would actually draw it back up.
Suck it up through a tube.
It looked like Augustus Gloop in Willy Wonka, right? That's kind of what it was like. And it was a magical age, Noah. There were mysteries.
Magical era
on
of banking.
Every corner. Yeah. Can you believe
it?
Anyway,
banking was an adventure.
So that's what American
that's what you do. Okay. Yeah. My name is Noah Tarnow. I'm the founder and the senior quiz master of the Big Quiz Thing, the trivia game show spectacular. Welcome to our show, friends. Always nice to be here. Bill, we on this show we talk about things that are in the pop culture zeitgeist of the moment. Zeitgeist of the moment, I think, is redundant, right?
I guess.
Spirit of the time of the moment.
Of the time of the ghost,
that are in the current zeitgeist. We're doing a second week in a row. We're doing a TV show, my friend.
Yeah.
Second week in a row, we're doing a TV show that you can watch on the home box office network.
It's not optimal, but it seemed appropriate. Yeah,
who cares? Come on.
Does it matter
we
now?
do what we want. How much are we getting paid for this? We do what we want.
That is true.
And Bill, this was your suggestion, secondhand from listener and friend of the show, one Nicholas Nadell.
Yes.
Of where's he live? Queens?
He lives in Rugby Avenue. I'm giving his actual address out. He lives in Kensington, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York. Okay.
Out on the Q line.
And I just saw him when I was in New York a couple weeks ago. And my cat is very fascinated with the microphone right now. Sorry. And his suggestion. It's a show from the Adult Swim sub-network from Cartoon Network. Here's what I learned about Adult Swim in researching this. Adult Swim used to just be what they called the nighttime programming block on Cartoon Network when they showed cartoons for adults, usually things that, not only adults, but adults who've consumed massive amounts of marijuana.
Yes, that's true.
But apparently now Adult Swim is its own production concern. In the interviews with the creator of the show, he keeps saying, I love working with the Adult Swim people. So is it still on Cartoon Network though? Like if you just if you have cable and you turn on Cartoon Network, can you watch the Adult Swim shows, or it's strictly just online?
You know what? I live in the Benelux. You're asking the wrong dude because I haven't turned on American TV in a good number of years.
Neither have I, but you're more plugged into this stuff than I am. Anyway, the show is called HaHa, You Clowns.
HaHa, You Clowns.
And it's sort of brand new, but tell us the details about HaHa, you clowns.
I just like repeating what you say, like Paul Schaefer would repeat Letterman's things.
Yeah,
like,
HaHa, you clowns. Yeah,
he would just like emphasize it just to,
Yeah.
That's my little nod to Worldwide Pants. Okay, so yeah. HaHa, you clowns is, by the way, and I listen to, there's a formerly Canadian podcaster named David Cole who runs a show called Extra Hot Great. And he never
formerly Canadian. What is that?
He lives in Austin now. He grew up in Canada, but he's been in the States for like 25 years.
Probably hanging on to that Canadian.
But he never fails to pronounce it as Adult Swim, which I guess must be an Ontario Canadian Adult Swim,
or it's an affectation maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, so HaHa, you clowns is an adult animated short 15-minute long. Yeah, I believe it's between 10 and 15 minutes.
It started as a web series that they were like 3 minutes.
Yeah, they were the classically short. The short the way we like it.
Now they're 15 minutes.
Now it's like fucking Cecil B. DeMille long compared to how.
Oh my God, endless. Bring a lunch.
It's like Fanny and Alexander's size length of the whole damn thing.
It's Showa. You're basically watching Showa. There's no difference.
That's a good movie. So it's a short comedy television series created by a man named Joe Kappa for Cartoon Network's nighttime programming block Adult Swim.
It's still Cartoon Network according to you.
That is true. Yeah,
you answered my question.
I did without even intending. Trying to avoid it, I didn't. But so it is based on the 2023 Adult Swim Smalls. They have an initiative. It's a kind of block. They call it Smalls in their way of kind of trying to separate it from shorts. It's sort of anthology, proof of concept stuff. They thought, let's be cute. Let's call it Smalls.
My impression is that these don't air on television at all. They're only
I think they're online YouTube. Which is, does anybody lose? I believe they probably have more viewers. I did not see them on TV. I saw them online. So
I watch more. I realized lately I am watching Saturday Night Live now more than I have since probably the early 2000s. But I'm still never ever watching it on TV Saturday night at 11:30. It's just that I watch a lot of stuff after the fact.
Lauren and
Facebook, YouTube, everything.
Colin, Yost, they're all happy with that. They just want you to watch it somehow.
That's right. That's right.
So this premiered on October 19th on the cathode ray tube. So the characters of the show, the constituents, Tom Campbell is a local weatherman who lives in a big house with his 3 large adult sons. And I think that's Are
they adults? They kind of
go
back and forth on whether they're adults or they're teenagers. I mean, you never see them in school. You only see one with a job.
I like the appellation large when the large adult son thing kind of trended in 2016. These guys are like the embodiment of the idea of like the grown man boy thing,
Right. They're very I think they purposely blur the line.
Yeah.
Are these adults or children? Yeah.
So they had the similarly ending names of Tristan, Preston, Duncan. And Kappa himself does all 4 male voices with only, I would say, 2 variants because the father has one specific voice which sounds a little bit like a guy doing a Gary Busey impression, and the 3 sons have exactly the same kind of like.
It's not exactly, but very. I cannot tell them apart. It's kind of very close.
And it's stylist, but it's almost like quasi somebody doing a goofy speech impediment kind of voice. Yeah. But again,
I describe it as Arnold Schwarzenegger got hit over the head with a lead pipe.
is coming out of anesthesia after inpatient surgery. Yeah.
It's a little like you have to watch for a bit to understand them. Like you might want to turn the subtitles on.
You get into it.
We can't describe it. We'll play an interstitial, but it's not. It's an accent. It's a choice.
While the paterfamilias Tom Campbell tries to get over the death of his beloved wife, his sons, his 3 large, grown, big, huge-faced sons, are always there to keep him grounded. The show started as a series of shorts green-lighted for a bigger run, and while the initial tranche on YouTube was self-made by Joe Kappa, we'll get into talking about him in a second. Joe Kappa used Adobe Animator. It was really like a one-man show. I forget how, if you have diligence and time, you could there's Adobe Suite off-the-shelf software that could just make a cartoon if you are the kind of guys who knows how to use it. The Adult Swim series, the TV run, has a full Korean studio working on it. I'm sure it's less than other shows, but it has a thing going on where it's been upgraded from just one man's passion into something that you could like mass produce for on a regular TV, on TV rails, that kind of thing. So Kappa is a largely, to me, unknown animator and also a puppeteer, kind of a visual artist. I think he's in his early 40s, so he's been banging around for a while. The guy runs a studio. He's an Oklahoma native, but he runs a studio in Denver, which has produced a variety of live action animated projects, including, I think, the thing he was most known for, which I did not know before this. He did a Sundance selected short called Ghost Dogs.
Oh my God, I love that with Forrest Whitaker playing the samurai. It was so cool.
1999.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was Ghost Dog.
You know what? To be fair, his SEO, it's like you are. There was already there's a big footprint out there for it too, and he works with his wife Kristen, who's a voice actor in the series, and I think that she has something to do with his studio, that sort of thing. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple, but tonally, it's like I hadn't seen anything like it. I'm curious, Noah, when you started watching it, how long did it take you to sort of snap into its rhythms and what it had to offer you in terms of a cartoon?
So, I watched, so far there are only 3 episodes. They're releasing one a week, I guess. And then the shorts, the smalls, as you might call them, I went back and watched those, and those are only a couple minutes. I think there are 7 of those. And then I went back and I watched Ghost Dogs, which is a big 10 minutes. It was at Sundance. And then some of his sort of live action stuff. He does these unsettling videos. The one that got the most attention was called Gabba Goblins, and it's like a
very, very unsettling stuff.
Yeah, it's like surreal live action Teletubbies. Well, Teletubbies they were live action, right?
Yeah, they were Australian puppets, essentially. People inside
They're puppets,
suits.
or were they little people in suits?
That's a good question. Maybe they were short women in foam suits.
Okay, well, Gabba Goblins is pretty unnerving, and he does these weird things with people with these big paper mache heads. It's pretty effed up stuff. That stuff was definitely more adult and surreal, and this feels. It's funny. I'm reminded of an artist, I think a great artist, Pee Wee Herman, rest in peace, who started out doing very adult. Basically the Pee Wee Herman show, which he did live, and then he did on HBO. Yeah. They filmed it for HBO, was like a filthy kids show. And then it took off enough that he started like, hey, why don't you do this actually for kids? And he took it seriously, and that led to Pee Wee Playhouse, which was a slightly surreal, kid show without the dirty jokes and the sex jokes and all that. So feel like a similar transition here. He went from the adult, heavily surreal stuff to, HaHa, You Clowns isn't for kids, but it's
not for kids,
It's not for kids. There's nothing you can't expose kids to. And it's the thing I see people talking about is they call it honest and heartfelt.
Yeah. Weird,
and it's
right?
it's definitely true. And it feels like it comes from an honest place. It doesn't blow me away, but it's very sweet. And, you expect these 3 guys, these meathead douchebag looking guys with those typical, swooping down haircuts. And again, the lead pipe over the Terminator's head voice, and they lack some social awareness. And, they're a little too sweet sometimes, which gets in the way of their interpersonal relationships with other people. But they're polite to a fault. They love each other. They love their dad. They miss their mom. Each of them has a girlfriend. They're nice to their girlfriends. The past topic of ours, the most reminded of, is Ted Lasso, in that it's a show that you would expect in this day and age to deal with serious conflict or toxicity or male toxicity, and you get the exact opposite. You get the douche bro who's not a douche bro.
That's a great comp. That's a perfect comp, and I hadn't thought of it, but you're right.
Yeah, you get. This even more than Ted Lasso, because the conflicts here are infinitesimal compared to the Ted Lasso conflicts. I read a quote from Capo where he says it's definitely inspired by shows like Seventh Heaven with an emotional underpinning. Did you ever watch Seventh Heaven? I think I watched it a few times. And those of you who don't know, Seventh Heaven was a slightly Christian show, but still on a major network, about a family with, 5 kids? So 7 of them. It was like 8 is enough. And they were Christian, but they didn't shove it in your face. And it was just this sweet, tender show about a family that all loved each other.
And the dad was a pederast in real life. So yeah.
And Well, the mom had been in Child's Play. I remember that. She was the woman in Child's Play.
She saved the whales in Star Trek 4 too.
Oh, that was her? Okay.
Yeah.
I had a real crush on her when I saw Child's Play when I was a kid. But yes, the actor who played the dad ended up being a pedophile. Thank you for ruining the show. In HaHa, You Clowns, the sweetness isn't too cloying. So it's easy to appreciate. The animation is the kind of animation, I'm not into modern animation that much, but when you look at it first, like, this is terrible. These guys' faces are ugly, ugly, ugly. People walk around in an awkward way. It's very reminiscent of, my reference point would be Mike Judge, Beavis and Butthead. But, once you get over that, I actually think the animation is quite good. There's a lot of really telling quotidian details, in one of the early shorts.
Yeah, that's also another good point. Yes.
They're standing on a boat, and Kappa took the time to show the wind ruffling the edges of their shorts. There's a moment where they're excited about something, and one of them's like, oh, let me go to the kitchen to get something. And as he walks to the kitchen, he just jumps up and smacks the archway going from the living room to the kitchen, like something we've all done. Certainly every guy has done. But, who's taken note of that, right? These little, very specific day-to-day details that really make it feel human and nice, frankly. And then kind of a recurring joke that, every episode is the moment where they talk about how much they love each other and how much they miss their mom. And they show these kind of surreal close-ups of one of their faces, and their eyes get red and like bloodshot, showing they're about to cry. And then there's a shot from this interview with Kappa I found on Birdie magazine. I don't know what that is, but it's literally one of the first shots of the first episode. The boys are sitting on this big couch watching TV. Their dad's in the easy chair, and the boys each have a girlfriend. The girlfriends have no personality, but they seem nice. And each of them has a girlfriend next to them, and each of them, the girlfriend is sitting in a different way, but they're all, one of them's got like, she's curled up, and the boyfriend's got one of the boys has his hand on her knee. The other one, she's like sitting with her legs across the other one's lap. And the other one's got like her knees tucked up to her chest, and she's pressing against her boyfriend. It is so real. It is so honest. It is so normal. And the fact that the characters are drawn ugly ends up becoming part of its charm. Now, is the show funny? Right? That's a big question. I mean, it's ostensibly a comedy. I don't know. There are moments that are amusing. The second episode is the dad's a TV weatherman, and the boys see this other TV weatherman who's gone viral for dancing. So they're trying to get their dad to dance so that he can go viral. The whole concept is kind of funny. It's entertaining. It's humorous, right? But I didn't laugh out loud once at any of this stuff. That's partly why I think the shorts are better. They could stick to a kind of formula. In 3 minutes, there's the mild conflict, and it ends with them talking about missing their mom and how they love each other, and they all start crying a little. I think that format works better for these. I don't quite think there's enough here to sustain a longer story, at least from a comedic perspective. But it is nice. It is like Ted Lasso. It's like Adventure Time. It's the new sincerity is the term you sometimes hear. We're in a world where sincerity can be surreal, and I think that's what this plays on. The fact that these are nice people doing nothing. There's a recurring line. A lot of the boys, or maybe one of the boys, their personalities are hard to differentiate. But one of the boys, instead of saying thank you, says, I appreciate you. The show is sweet. It goes down easy, and it has a fair amount of charm. So, I'm not crazy about it, but thumbs up for sure.
I have to admit, like you, I was kind of curious if we would come line up on this one. I like the YouTube versions more than the TV. Yeah, there's just something. It works a little better more than the polished swim set. It's something more improvisational, unformed, and like you said, the pattern of beats, kind of like they succeed better. Where it is, I mean, I don't think any version of the show is trying to be funny and laugh out loud, but there's just something about doing it shorter, which is the more appropriate form for me. I'm happy that William Street, I think, is the production arm of Adult Swim. That is who essentially is going out and pinhooking talent. And, like that, William Street has been responsible for so many things through the years. That was, what if the Space Ghost Coast to Coast was one of the first things that they put out that was not really a sensation, but kind of an underground sensation where if you knew, you knew. I mean, they came together. Rick and Morty was one of the things that Adult Swim got off the ground. They're doing a really good job of pinhooking talent. They found Joe Kappa again, who'd been around for a while. Most major studios, all over Hollywood and anywhere in the creative world have like long abandoned grooming a minor league fart team of artists, in any kind of position to create the art of the future. Rick and Morty wasn't even like a minor league guy. That was Dan Harmon who brought that to them. And Dan Harmon already had TV shows out the ass, but it was a new thing. You hadn't seen the sort of ugliness, that weird jaggedness of Rick and Morty with that, that dark sense of trying to take Back to the Future and piss on it a little bit. So, the other thing is that like you said, the whole imprimatur of Adult Swim has usually meant we're getting something a little hyperbolic and antisocial. And made me think of Too Many Cooks. Remember Too Many Cooks had that kind of... Right, which it was live action, but it was really had a dark core to it. It was ironic.
It had an extremely dark
yes.
core. I mean, that was blood red in many ways.
Rick and Morty also has a really cynical, dark core to it where it's based on sort of antisocial, anarchic ideas. These things push the boundaries of good humor sometimes, good taste in animation. HaHa, You Clowns is like you said, what do you call it? The new sentimentality? Is that the word?
The new sincerity.
New sincerity, yeah.
It was thrown around for music. It's been thrown around for a few things.
So this is and I don't say this as this is a knock on it as an identifier. It is absolutely sentimental. It is absolutely schmaltzy.
It's very sentimental.
I mean, that's it. It's me waiting for the moment when the father's and son's eyes turn red, with tears of love and loss for mom. I'm not poking fun at the type of naked sentimentality. In a way that feels a little ironic. It feels anarchic, I should say, compared to most other things in the channels landscape and what qualifies as TV. But I watching this, I am waiting for when does the shitty thing happen? When does the weird psycho killer? When does the thing about the kid jerking off in his underpants pop up? When does that turn happen? And the turn, it's not there.
It never happens.
I'm dragging it around. That's me. I'm bringing it on there.
Do you guys know what cabeza de melon loca means in Spanish? Crazy something. Crazy melon head. That was gonna be my second guess. Sure, Tristan, whatever you say.
Hey gang, just checking in on you. How you guys doing on popcorn?
I think we're soft.
Oh, we're so good, Dad. It tastes okay. How was the butter?
Oh,
we
we're
so good.
You're off, Dad. Seriously, we really appreciate it.
This is not the mania that many of our other topics are. You can read a few interviews with Joe Kappa out there, and, it is on HBO. But, all right, so why did HBO pick this up, and why are people enjoying it?
Well, HBO picked it up because it is in the same corporate family as Adult Swim, and it's shittergy. No, I mean, they're all owned by
why did Adult Swim pick this up?
Well, yeah,
that's my question. There's a lot of animators out there. You can't just knock on their door and they'll put your damn thing on YouTube.
I'm sure they would love it if you did, but no. So
yeah, okay.
I want to emphasize the raw and ugly look. That kind of. I think of Beavis and Butthead. I think of Rick and Morty. I think of South Park at the beginning.
Rick and Morty is way more polished than this in terms of animation.
But the jaggedness of what you saw, the character designs were fucked up. The character designs were ugly, weird, bug-eyed, unpleasant look.
They're okay. Yeah, they're a different kind of shitty.
I'm saying that the style book. It's look, it's an artist who knows what he's doing, but the style book itself, the lookbook, the style guides, are that's what Kappa wants them to be. It's they're kind of a grotesque human faces and bodies, and the stylized voices aren't weird. Look, if you're going to do Ren and Stimpy, it's they both had very stylized voices. I mean, look, we go back to the art of the dawn of Mel Blanc. It's animation. The thing is stylized voices. That's what's great about it. And then when you come up with something, you wonder, well, have we run out of all the voices because Mel Blanc did them all, and Tom Kenny, who does SpongeBob, had done them all, and who's left? The guy who did Optimus Prime. It's who's left? And it's well, now it sounds like Joe Kappa is almost pressing his tongue through his teeth when he does it's such a simple delivery. It's the last ugly voice left over in animation is the one he's using for 3 characters in the show. But I think all those things belie the naked emotion of really well behaved large adult sons, who revere their dad.
And are nice to complimenting old
ladies.
And
June Squibb.
They got June Squibb to be in this.
They got fucking June Squibb to be in this thing. Yeah. So
there's a moment. Sorry to interrupt. There's a moment where they're so nice when they're traveling in Mexico in one of the shorts, and they offer to take the photo of the old couple.
Oh yeah, that's the whole setup is them offering to take a picture.
Right, and the guy says, "What? How are you?" The guy's wearing sunglasses. The old man and the kid says, "How do we feel about the sunglasses?" Like, I think I'm going to keep them on. And the kid says, "Good call." Clearly, it's weird that he keeps his sunglasses on in his photos with his wife, but the fact that he's saying good call, he's affirming this guy. These kids are like ridiculously nice. It's almost annoying.
They're really well-raised kids, and I would not have. They would not be out of place in what was the Kirk Cameron sitcom with
Growing Pains.
Yeah, like that kind of like well-behaved suburban sitcom kids. They have a little.
The joke was Kirk Cameron's character was he was a troublemaker. He was not a bad troublemaker. He was like borderline, right? He got shitty grades.
He was still kind to his mom and dad and kind to his
He was polite, but he was a bad student and he was always getting up to mischief. Who cares? The show was terrible.
But you keep each episode to 15 minutes. I think that's a big incentive to people watching. You can just drill through a bunch at a time. I think the YouTube series, I kind of parked this note in the popular segment, even though it probably doesn't belong here. I think the YouTube series promised something a little more hyperbolic, not necessarily tonally different in terms of like losing that earnestness. But if you were, there was this, I love the running gag that like they were being haunted by their mom's poltergeist. That really appealed to me. There were little things like they would mention mom and like a painting would fall off there was a little bits and pieces. They weren't standing on it, but I liked it
wasn't the central of a plot.
But it was a little zip in the background that made me wonder, like what is that going to be, and what is that saying about the show? And they've abandoned that. It's like that did not fit into the counseling they got from Adult Swim. Was to forget about that whole thing. Just push the gas pedal on earnestness. And go right down the center with the relationship between cell dad and large sons without a mom, which in itself is like you could imagine that's a sitcom premise. Mom is dead, and so
wasn't that My Three Sons back in the?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, right. So that is a sitcom premise.
Was she dead in My Three Sons? Was she dead?
He killed her. Anyway, so what do you think about popularity?
Yeah. I mean, just go back and listen to whatever I said about Ted Lasso. We need kindness. We desperately need to believe that the world isn't completely, dominated by awful people doing everything they can to screw other people because of the lulls, and that every corner has doom and gloom beyond it, and everyone's trying to kill everyone else. I mean, we are desperate for a feeling that is not the case. We are starving for it. We are thirsty for
gentility and good behavior and all those things. Yeah.
And then the show has a very human touch in that it's not about big conflicts. Its concerns are very quotidian. A lot about it is very relatable. And, even putting aside death and horror and hatred and venality, it's a nice change of pace from the intensity of so much entertainment. I mean, when's the last, a couple years ago, I went to the movies in the theater and I saw Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, the movie of that. And it was so weird that this little story about a girl coming of age it's not weird that I was watching it because you can see shit like that all over TV, all over your laptop. But like I was seeing it in a movie theater. Like when does that happen? And even like, I saw that with my niece, even the movie I saw with my niece a couple months ago, Freaky Friday. I mean, it's still a lot bigger than something like that. Entertainment is so intense and so big most of the time. So it's nice to have something small. And I also wonder, I kind of criticized it before because I don't think it works that well as a comedy. But I have to wonder if one could watch this as a comedy from the perspective of irony. Like watching these dorks being sweet nerds and loving their dad and having a little bit of, social awareness, cluelessness, right? Could you watch it from that perspective and flat out laugh at it? The third episode,
like they were normcore, like you're like
a little, right? Like the third episode, the central plot is one of them leaves his bomber jacket.
My bomber jacket's lost to
my bomber jacket. My bomber. He leaves it at a Mexican restaurant and his quest to get it back. And, you could laugh at this dork being obsessed with this. Does that make you a bad person if you're laughing at it from that angle? I mean, I don't laugh at it from that perspective, but I guess we just did because we were imitating his voice saying it.
It's an aspect.
With it.
We're not getting traction off of mocking it. That's I think
we're not sitting there, cracking up and saying, roll this joint and watch this. You have to see this. It's so fucking awesome when you're high. It's not like we did with Ren and Stimpy. I don't know about you, but Ren and Stimpy was,
John Crickfalusi
ingesting something and then, literally laughing till you're in pain.
Think fast.
That's firing torpedoes tonight.
Down periscope. Give me a doggy treat.
Pass the pigskin. I'm open.
Don't you mean pass the melon?
Interception by Preston.
Noah, would you have liked HaHa, You Clowns if you could imagine somehow this being on TV in 1987, 1991, 1993, etc., etc.?
Why is it called HaHa, You Clowns?
Haven't found it out yet. I mean, I can only grok that it's something you can imagine the dad saying to his sons.
HaHa, You Clowns.
Yeah. But no, it has not popped up so far in the run of the show.
Yeah. There's a lot of clowns in Adult Swim, right? Do you remember Children's Hospital, their first non-animated show?
Yeah, that was filled with irony. It was so rife with irony.
But it was like an evil clown show, right?
No, it was a hospital that was just manned by clown. Rob Corddry played clown. It was not evil. It was just sort of a send-up of medical dramas.
I realized a few years ago, the archetype of the clown, the scary clown, has become the go-to. The scary clown archetype has subsumed the funny, child-friendly clown archetype.
Oh, a while ago now. Yeah, we're in the new reality.
When children, or at least most children, see a clown, the first thing they think is he's going to chop us up and kill us instead of he's funny. And I got to be honest, as much as I see the appeal of the scary clown, like, that's a little sad, I always thought clowns were kind of nice, kind of sweet, kind of funny, and kind of entertaining. Anyway, I digress. I think I would appreciate this more just because the whole concept of a 15-minute, slightly surreal, crummily, or on the surface crummily drawn cartoon would have more purchase with me, right? I did like Ren and... I mean, I don't think kids these days can appreciate how mind-blowing The Simpsons was when we were 14, 15 years old, because...
How controversial, not just mind-blowing, but actually controversial.
Right. But the whole idea of a cartoon with any kind of edge was considered groundbreaking.
In prime time, no less, yeah.
An adult cartoon. And while, as you said before, there's nothing in this that wouldn't work for kids, it's clearly it's not made to entertain children. That's not the point of it. As I feel like, the Flintstones, I guess, was made for adults, but by the time we were kids, it was just a kid show, and there was nothing non-kid about it. The Simpsons blew people's minds in that it was an intelligent cartoon. It was a cartoon with something to say on top of being, having adult humor or various levels of adult humor. So, yeah, I think this would be more my lingua franca, and I might get more value out of it.
Oh, I'm genuinely surprised to hear that, because this was the thing. As a kid, no, this would have had no purchase. Speaking of purchase, no purchase. Look, there aren't enough moving parts here to have occupied my liminal brain. It just wouldn't have worked. And the thing is, it's like for the exact reasons you said. You had Cartman slinging anti-Semitism and antisocial slurs back in 1997. Talk about, the peak of like performative misbehavior and the sort of like, we're going to shock you, by having...
Yeah, but now they've almost become a parody. South Park's almost become a parody of itself.
It is, but when he's singing Kyle's Mom's a Bitch in like season 1, it's like that was... The Simpsons was something like 8 years before that, and then South Park pushed it even... And then Ren and Stimpy beyond that, like...
Yeah. Ren and Stimpy was doing its own thing. Also, it came way before South Park.
Yes, it did, but only by about
I was watching
5
Ren and
years.
Stimpy I was watching Ren and Stimpy senior year of high school.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy
And South Park came out after we graduated
it
college.
was 98, 99, I think it was.
98, I believe.
Yeah, 98. So the thing is, it's like you come out of the toy commercial 80s, which again is kind of my zone to some degree. Then you get the 90s, you got the anarchic, gross out shit of Ren and Stimpy and South Park. You know, the bar for misbehavior was raised miles from where it otherwise had been. And again, I grew up on like watching Mel Blanc, Looney Tunes, Tex Avery, and Friz Freleng, which to me is like that's the zero base of animation. Is some of the best stuff ever made by human hands. And so for this stuff to compete with either Cobra Commander or Bugs Bunny or Eric Cartman, that you're asking, or even then you go to like anime, which I start watching like Akira and mind blowing shit coming out of like, you know, Hayao Miyazaki. It's like, oh man, this is, you know, this is a throw. I don't know, it's kind of a throwback now. It's hard to say what it is, but this mightn't have made a dent on the younger brain of mine.
Sir,
Oh,
anything to drink, sir?
Get yourself a cerveza, Dad. You've earned it. You're on vacation. Treat yourself.
water's fine.
All right, but when we touch down, I want to see a pina colada in their hands.
Is the existence and possible hit nature, I guess the jury's still out, it's still very new, of HaHa, You Clowns in any way a sign of the apocalypse?
I appreciate the simple stories, and they really are simple stories, like A to B to C. I mean, and I'm not shitting on them at all. Give me responsible storytelling any day of the week. It's a real, you know, tonic. And it's a straightforward lack of irony and pretension. I mean, really, almost utterly. If you can imagine a world without irony and pretension, like how long we've been living with irony since what, like 91, 92? I mean, we've had irony for longer than that, but it's like I remember irony taking over as the preeminent
culture of irony. And after 9/11, everyone said irony was dead. It took like a 3-month break. Probably.
I think that, yeah, you know, it was Anderson, Kurt Anderson, and Graydon Carter on Spy Magazine, which I didn't read. I didn't read at the time, but it was sort of like one of the standard bearers of like let's cultivate this voice in the 1980s and make it into something. It's like, so we have been living in the post ironic world for a long time. But it's like, no, this show is the Campbell family is a nice tonic to how much cruelty we can stand to bear witness to in the world every day, you know? I mean, look, a little of this goes a long way. This show, show is not a 15, believe it or not, this is what's 15 minutes of it, 3 of them in a row. I wouldn't exactly call it bingeable because it's about as much as you might be otherwise be able to take, but it's watchable again. But no, not a sign of the apocalypse. Yeah,
I would not want to live in the world where all entertainment is like, HaHa, You Clowns. I mean, I think we'd be back to, you know, every sitcom in the 50s, right? Even though that world might be better than the world we live in, I wouldn't want to live in that world. But this is not a sign of the apocalypse. And even if you find it saccharine or boring, it's even the 15-minute episodes, they're in and out quickly. Everything's made with care and kindness. I mean, you have to be the cynic among cynics to think this is a horrible, evil thing, I believe.
I'm asking everyone at home to seek shelter now. This is not a drill.
This isn't a drill, fellas. Duncan, leave it. Dad.
Yeah, Tristan.
We're so sorry about earlier. Yeah, Dad. We pushed you way too hard. We see that now.
Hey, stop that. There's no need to apologize. So I have 2 left feet. Big whoop.
I am ready to finish the show by discussing our final 2 rubrics, our top Rubik's Cube, jealousy and the Felonian scale. Can you tell me feelings of envy and where you would rank this on the XYZ axes of our topics? Yeah, I mean, look, as I say every episode, I'm jealous of anyone who, you know, gets their project picked up by a big blah, 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 blah. But also, I don't know, these characters are so nice and they're praised for being so nice, and I like to think I'm a nice guy, and where's my praise? I mean, people praise me, but, you know, so there's, but, you know, I'm insecure. I have an insatiable need for validation, so they can't possibly praise me enough. So I'm minorly jealous of this, but not too much to speak of. I think the Kappa part of this, you know, and I mean, again, we didn't really dig into who Joe Kappa is as a creator, what his psychology is. I mean, I'm sure he's telling you a lot about who he is by watching the show. So it comes through the work, I assume. But, you know, Kappa seems to have put his time in the trenches. He has the house style, like you mentioned, the puppetry, the live action stuff, the same like wide, overly wide head. You said the paper mache, almost like what are those things during the crew parades in Mardi Gras have like the giant heads?
Yeah, the big heads. Yeah, there's some term for them. I don't know.
Yeah, right. And it's like
the big heads.
The big heads. Yeah, he's got this style of like it's obviously, even if they're actors, they're wearing these enormously wide heads. So they're a little bit like Cabbage Patch Kids, but they have extremely that's a style.
It's
anyway,
very uncanny valley.
It's ugly too.
His early stuff is really kind of disturbing.
It's really, but I think in a good way. It's all intended. It's real visual art. Yeah, it's that line between visual art and commerce. And the guy, he's like Ralph Bakshi. When you watch a Ralph Bakshi movie or see a drawing of Ralph Bakshi, there's no disputing who it came from. Ralph Bakshi was just one of those boomer artists. Just he
was the Fritz the Cat people.
Yeah,
he was the Fritz the Cat guy.
Wizards. Yeah, he had so much stuff that was his, and it's like his stuff is endemic. It's like he is an animation and an artist non-pariah. Like his stuff looks like his stuff. It's amazing. And he managed to he wrote it to a certain amount of fame doing that too. This guy's not that famous, but it's like, I really love how the sensibility permeates the work. YouTube and TikTok are representative. You want to look at smaller bits and pieces. It's built for that kind of bite-sized social media stuff to throw out in terms of images. It looks like it could be memes if it was not, in fact, sequential with a story to it. It looks like it could be just visual art. Chaotic, weird, anarchic stuff, but it's not. So look, the guy's graduating to a larger venue in his mid-40s. It's a timely ascent. It's careful. He's worked with, music artists doing videos. He's worked for corporate clients. And it's like, yeah, I'm jealous in the abstract of a guy who seems to be succeeding making his art. Even if it is this small version of it, it's cool to see. And it's the kind of thing I wished, had I a creative bone in my body, had I the ability to pick up.
Oh, you have a creative bone in your body. By the way, I didn't tell you this before the mics went hot, Bill. Your latest edit of my promo video looks damn good. We're gonna come back to you with a couple notes, but I only had a couple minor notes. So this guy's got a lot of creative bones in a lot of parts of his body.
Arthritic bones. Yeah. All right.
His little tiny anvil and hammer in his inner ear.
the hyaloid bone in my throat.
The smallest bones. Yeah, smallest bone. Yeah, yes, his wishbone has got ideas up the wazoo. You didn't know wishbones had wazoos.
That's true. So where would you rank this on the scale? How does this
I got to start with. I'm being lazy this week. I started with Ted Lasso. Yeah. I multiply it by a quarter.
It didn't even occur to me, Ted Lasso. That's a good one.
Ted Lasso is. I almost re-listened to our episode about Ted Lasso. Do you remember I got in trouble about Ted Lasso, us doing on the show?
No,
because I just posted a preview on Facebook and I said, next week's episode of I Don't Get It, and it was a picture of Ted Lasso. And of course, all these people who never listen and assume everything on the show we hate, they're like, don't go after Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso is brilliant. Ted Lasso is the best thing in the world. And I'm like, listen to the damn fucking episode. Thank you. Ted Lasso times 1/4 of Rick and Morty plus 72.138. So I've done better in the past, I admit.
I'm going to comp it against something we have not talked about very rarely since we discussed the original topic. So I was pleasantly surprised at the beginning. The more I watched, I started to experience kind of deja vu repeated theme where I kind of got the point of it, and it kept going beyond that, and yet it still had a very earnest, plain spoken thing to it where it was just doing what it did without a lot more. It wasn't adding or building. It wasn't kind of like making it more complex. So look, unless somehow this show on episode 4 is going to switch its pattern to something completely unexpected and make a right turn and a veer, I don't think it's going to. I think whatever the run of the rest of these things are will play out the way they did. I was reminded, Noah, of all things, but Kabi Lame, the most famous entertainer in the history of the 21st century.
He's very popular.
He's very popular. I think he's not in the catbird perch of what he used. Catbird perch. That makes no sense. You get my point. Yeah. The catbird perch.
Is he not the most followed person on TikTok anymore?
I don't think so. I think
last I checked, he was.
That was I thought that was like 5 years ago.
I'm gonna look this up. He is the most followed person on TikTok.
Still,
he has 161.1
million
followers.
Billion followers. Everyone in China under the pain of education camp must follow Kabi Lame.
Second place is your girl, Charlie D'Amelio, with 156.3. And then Mr. Beast with 122.3.
Second prize is a set of steak knives. So this still augurs terribly for humanity. I don't know what to
I
tell
mean,
you.
how many of these people have we done as topics? Kabi Lame, Mr. Beast, Zach King. I'm looking at like the top 20 here. Some of the Billie Eilish. We did Billie Eilish. We never did Bella Poarch.
All we ever hear about Mr. Beast these days is when he's being shit on by people for essentially this ridiculous thing where people have to Hunger Games or Mad Max Thunderdome their way into money to debase themselves for
Really?
cash.
That's what he's doing now?
Well, I mean, anytime he asks somebody,
That's
it's
funny.
like, hey, do you want to like eat all these red peppers or jump in a swimming pool full of pudding and I'll give you $100 or something like that. It seems like
Well, but
could you give
that's
it
not
away-
that bad. I mean, jumping in a swimming pool of pudding, I might do that for $0.
You have done that.
If only you knew. It wasn't
All
pudding.
Only you know.
Okay, so thank you. HaHa, do you think you're going to keep watching this?
That's a good question. I may revisit it, but I think I saw, since it's, again, if I thought the apotheosis of what it was on the YouTube stuff already, and it's not necessarily doing the form that I love the most, I'd be less inclined to watch it. I didn't hate it. There's just so much stuff to watch right now, you know. There's Wheel of Fortune, Noah, for God's sake. Look, it's just so much stuff to watch. I just don't have time in my busy life.
It's Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, Heavy Metal, Suicide. It's all out there.
You guys look that up. That's a reference thing.
Yeah, you kids look that up.
All right,
We're
everybody.
old. Okay.
So in place of looking it up, you might want to also put us on in the background, listen to past episodes of our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Play. You can reach us at noahandbillshow.bsky.social. On email, we are at gmail at noahandbill.don't-get-it-at. Reviews.
We're not Gmail at.
No, I'm saying at Gmail at.
We're on Gmail
Yes.
at whatever.
I'm breaking it up. Yeah, it's making it incomprehensible to the listener. That's the
You,
whole point.
you do it your way. I don't
I'll
care.
do it my way. Like
Yeah.
McDonald's? Was that their slogan?
That
Do
was
it your way?
Burger King.
Burger
Was
King.
have it your
Have
way.
it your way.
How mad they'd be if they knew.
It was Burger
do it
King.
your way.
It was fine. Have it your way. That was what.
Do it your way.
Fine, do
What
it your
slogan
way.
would that be? Yeah, do it your
So
way.
I'm on the socials at BillScurry.bsky and William Scurry on Twitter, Instagram, all those things. YouTube.com/IamCaesar is where you find the last 9 or 10 episodes of this show, plus all the videos I made along the way. And Noah has a bigger footprint. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, personally, I'm occasionally on Instagram at the Noah Tarnow, but check me out at bigquizthing.com. The Big Quiz Thing, America's premier provider of corporate and private live trivia events. Yes, Bill, we're working on that new promo video. We got lots of stuff happening. Busy holiday season coming up. Very busy. Am I traveling for an event? Oh, I'm going to LA for an event. I'll be in LA for 10 days. I told you that, Bill, right?
To see your asshole brother, as Bush sang. Was that what it was? And Everything's Zen.
What?
Remember Everything's Zen? That song by.
Oh, there's a line, yeah.
Maybe I'll go to LA to see my asshole brother.
Yeah, no, I do not have a brother there.
Okay.
I'm spending Thanksgiving with my sister's boyfriend's brother, and he's invited all of us.
Could be an
there.
asshole for all we know.
He's not an asshole. He's perfectly
Saying
nice.
could be. I don't know.
And I'm seeing various friends, and maybe go to the beach. But that's irrelevant right now. And so check out bigquizthing.com. Learn about how we make the trivia magic happen.
All right, everybody. So until the next episode where we review HaHa Art the Clown, we don't get it.
A production of American Caesar Enterprises 2025.